Hi everyone, welcome to PowerShell for Penetration Testers at Pentester Academy. In this video, let's have a look at brute forcing credentials with the help of PowerShell. We will use brute force script from Nishang, which could be used to brute force following force services: Active Directory, FTP, SQL Server, and SharePoint Web Services. We will see how to brute force Active Directory and SQL Server. To use the Active Directory brute forcing functionality, the attacking machine must be part of the domain to be brute forced. Therefore, we have to make some assumptions. For example, here I need access to a machine in the target domain, which I assume that I do have. Therefore, I have already created a session to the domain PC machine in our lab. Secondly, I've already downloaded the brute force script on this machine so that some time is saved. So let's load brute force. Now we have to provide the identity. This is our lab domain. Let's brute force the administrator. Let's try password, and the service to be brute forced is Active Directory. As you can see that it has not been successful. Now we can always pipe a list of usernames or password to this function. For example, let's use this service Active Directory. So in this case, we would be using this word list to brute force the administrator user. Unfortunately, no success. We can also pass a list of usernames if we want. For example, here we can read a list of usernames and provide the password parameter here. So in that case, for example, if we want to, we were able to enumerate all users of a domain, which in fact we will see later on. Then in that case, we can use this to look for all the users whose password is password1. So this comes in really handy, and this is one of the examples of scripts which are useful in repeated phases of a penetration test. So right now we are into the exploitation phase. We already saw scanning and vulnerability analysis. So this script could be used in this phase as well as in a later phase where we do have access to a domain or a machine inside a domain. So this is how we brute force the Active Directory. Unfortunately, we did not have any success this time. Okay, I think it just broke the remote PowerShell run space. So let's start a new one. Now let's use this brute force script to brute force SQL Server. So let's provide identity or compute. So this parameter identity as aliases like IP or computer name. So we can use any of it. So either use computer name here or identity here. Let's provide the name of the machine where we want to brute force. The username, let's brute force SA. Password, let's try SA password, and service, which is SQL. So there was no success. Let's try a couple of more passwords. So as you can see that it is fine, but not really very fast, and obviously not a replacement of tools like Hydra or really good tools like that. So there was no success, I believe. So just for demonstration, let's add our password. I know the password because it is our lab. So let's just add the password to the, oh, in fact it is there with an extra. Let's move it upwards. Let's put it here. And now if we run this, okay, a success true message just passed by. That is why it is always advised to store this in a variable and then use the select object to capture success true. So this way we can brute force a SQL server using PowerShell. So again, there is always a room for improvement. We could use multi-threading with this script to make it even more faster. And about FTP and SharePoint Web Service, you can try it on your own. So let's not repeat the same thing again and again. So that is all for this video. If you are enjoying your time at Pentester Academy, please recommend us to your friends and colleagues in the information security community.